Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
So if I was trying to be positive, this would be my, 5-point plan. If someone were to say, Ezra, can you stop criticizing Erin O'Toole just for a moment? And can you actually give him some useful, constructive, friendly advice? All right, I'll give it a shot. Point one, first, make the decision not to talk to the Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal media party. Just try it out for the next month. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Isn't it bad enough that the media party ignores him? Well, that's the point. See, Erin O'Toole is obviously addicted to their approval. He craves their attention, but more than that, he wants them to like him. It's why he bends to their every whim. If he were to cut them off like an alcoholic stopping to drink cold turkey, it would force him not to care about what they thought and force him to use other, less pejorative media, smaller market media, YouTubers. I'm not saying don't talk to voters in Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. The opposite. Talk to the voters, but don't talk to CBC and the Toronto Star and the Globe and Mail gatekeepers. This isn't just about getting his own stories out to the people. It's about breaking his addiction to the media party's approval. I think it's important. It's a mindset change. Second, choose controversies of his own choosing. The Liberals will drop controversies on Erin O'Toole during the election. They've got them stored up, ready to go, waiting to go. Scandals. Candidates who have said things on social media that they're going to ask O'Toole, will you fire, whatever. So controversies are going to come. Putting O'Toole forward as Mr. Bland, that's not going to do it.
Do you know who this is? Probably not. He's no celebrity. Just an ordinary Canadian who served his country. Just a husband and father who stood up for workers. Who works hard with years of experience in business. Just someone who's in it for Canada, not for headlines. Just Erin.
Yeah, that's very nice, but that will not survive a personal attack on him. The only way to fight and win the Liberals and the Liberal-paid media party is to choose carefully, proactively, what you want the controversies to be about. Because there will be a controversy. So ideally, you want a controversy that the media party will really, really hate, but that ordinary voters will love. 10 years ago, that would have been Omar Khadr. Every Canadian hates that traitor terrorist. Only the Liberal Party, the media party, and lawyers love him. That's a perfect example. What's another issue like that that's current? What are 3 or 4 or 5 issues like that? Put another way, if you don't have a front page story in mind for yourself, the other side does. Here's an example. I'll call this my third point. Transgenderism in sports. Perfect example. Here's a tweet from Erin O'Toole. Today, we recommit to making Canada an equitable place for all people to live. I stand with the trans community in Canada and around the world in fighting for equal treatment. Trans Day of Visibility. So he tweeted that, and I read it, but I was thinking, what does that mean? Does it mean, hey, everybody, let's be nice to everyone, no matter what they're like, and let's not be mean to anyone, and let's be kind, and let's not bully anyone? Okay, great, I agree. But does it mean letting people who are born male but who transition, letting them play against girls in girls' sports leagues? Because that's not about an equitable place for all people to live. That's about destroying sports for girls. That's about as unfeminist as possible, erasing actual women and girls, destroying their dreams. Imagine if O'Toole said, he really does want everyone to be nice to each other. Don't be mean to trans people. Don't pick on them. Don't bully them. Say all the nice things. But then said he was going to introduce a rule protecting girls' sports too, from advantage takers, from transgender male to female trans athletes. And maybe he also mentioned transgender criminals getting to stay at women's prisons. What do you think the public reaction would be if he said, I like trans people and I don't want them to be harmed, but no more trans in girls' sports, no more trans in women's prisons. What do you think? 90% of people would support that? Including from a lot of trans and gay people, by the way, and a lot of feminists, by the way, and a lot of women, by the way, and a lot of girls, by the way. And what do you think the reaction from the media party would be? It would be the mirror opposite, absolute rage, front page coverage, which would be a good thing given that 90% of the public would support it. In fact, maybe he should say that he wants Omar Khadr charged for treason and to see if he can claw back the $10.5 million that Trudeau gave him. I mean, it's a little bit of a stale issue, but what would happen? You'd immediately get a bunch of liberal lawyers and law professors outraged, lots of front pages, and what do you think the public would say? Look, if you don't choose your controversies, the other guy's going to choose them for you. Now, transgender sports and Omar Khadr are not the biggest issues on the radar of our country. I'm just giving you examples of something that are real conservative policies that the vast majority of ordinary people would agree with, and they would push any fake controversies from the liberals off the front pages, push global warming off the front pages, and it would reveal the media itself as partisan. But the harder the media would rage against O'Toole, the better, right? It would make ordinary Canadians say, I like that guy. Oh, I'm with that guy. As opposed to his ads, hi, I'm just Erin. I think there are other huge winners like that. Roxham Road, the Liberal Party's obsession with bringing in record numbers of migrants, even during a pandemic, even during a deep recession where we have 9.5% unemployment. Did you see what Trudeau did just the other day? He removed the ancient rule that screens out extremely ill people from immigrating here. People with extremely expensive and dangerous medical conditions who would immediately just go straight into our hospital system and be a burden. Every country in the world screens for deep health problems. It's just, why would you say we're going to be the entire world hospital displacing our own patients? No one does that, but Trudeau just did. He wants all the world's sick people to apply to move here. Why? Why? Now, the media loves that, except for themselves. They'll jump to the front of the line. They probably know someone. But what do you think ordinary people would think of that, including new immigrants, by the way, who had to come here the proper way? You know, pulling back on immigration during a recession, during 9.5% unemployment, when housing prices are absolutely insane in the big cities, sorry, that's going to resonate with, I don't know, 90% of people, including legal immigrants who are saying, how can I afford rent in Toronto or Vancouver? Don't be mean about it. Don't be rude about it. Be pro-Canadian, be pro-common sense about it, but refer to my point one above. Just literally don't engage with the media party. They're not real journalists. They're liberals with press credentials. Ignore them, and their hatred for these ideas will give them free publicity. One thing I almost liked from O'Toole's speech the other day was when he said he wanted to reach out to organized labor.
I'm not going to sit around and wait for them to get serious. The NDP no longer stand up for working Canadians and their families. Private sector union workers share so many of our values of hard work, family, and community. Like us, they are proud of what we build here in Canada. They should be voting Conservative. And if we have the courage to change our approach with organized labor, to open our tent to them, we will win their trust.
Well, that was almost right. You don't need to reach out to the organizations themselves. That would be like Jerry Diaz and his pro-liberal Unifor super PAC. How about reaching out actually to union workers, not their liberal bosses? How about reaching out to truck drivers, oil and gas workers, steel workers, pipeline workers? Don't be shy about it. That's an economic plan in itself. That's a jobs plan. That's a respect for the working people plan. People who are ignored or attacked by the left these days. And sure, there will be some squawking from that global warming hard left, but nobody cares about that. Go to British Columbia and the far north of Canada to show how important industries like mining and logging and trucking and oil sands are to Aboriginal communities. Put the left on the back foot. Why are you against jobs for the working man? Why are you against jobs for Aboriginal people? But the number one thing O'Toole needs to do is to talk about the number one thing on Canadians' minds. The pandemic, and more to the point, the lockdowns. As I showed you yesterday, 96% of pandemic victims are over age 60. So for the vast majority of working families in Canada, the problem with the pandemic is not a health problem. It's a lockdown problem. A schools are shut down problem, a jobs problem, a businesses are shut down problem, a travel is shut down problem. How about their voice? How about speaking for them, not recklessly, but how about say a word about economic freedom and letting people earn a living? How about letting people choose their own fear level? How about pointing out that American states are moving on with real life, even the Democrat states, while Canada slouches backwards? That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.